Hi, I'm David Dodge. Welcome to Green Energy Futures. Climate change has been called one of the most economically impactful events in human history. And companies are increasingly reporting on environmental, social, and governance indicators, so-called ESGs. Ethical funds are a way to invest in greener solutions, but some folks think we need a more aggressive approach to tackle climate change.
Hi, I'm James Regulinski. I'm one of the co-founders at Carbon Collective Investing, and we are moving forward the energy transition by filling the funding gap between where we are currently investing in a clean economy and where we need to be investing to avert a climate disaster. So we are a registered investment advisor based in the US. I'm sorry to all your Canadian listeners right now. With fingers crossed, we'll be expanding soon. And that means that we currently technically are advisors and are making recommendations on how to build and construct your portfolio.
Carbon Collective uses an automated online platform like Wealthsimple to advise its clients on investments focused on solving climate change.
The genesis of Carbon Collective came out of two issues that we found. One was, how do we meaningfully solve climate change? And my co-founder and I had just finished reading Project Drawdown, which lays out how using technologies that exist today, not technologies that we invent in the future, but today, we would get to a point where we're pulling more CO2 out of the air than we're releasing.
They wanted to find a way to invest their personal retirement and general funds that was in line with their values.
Digging into some of these ESG funds and other things that were available, and we just couldn't make heads or tail of how it would make a difference to invest in them. We don't want to just believe what companies say that they're going to do. Companies make a lot of promises. We're looking at what do they actually build. There's the classic ones like solar and wind are both really easy to come to mind when people think about transitioning away from fossil fuels or getting our economy off of producing so much CO2. But there's others. There's retrofitting buildings and having intelligent buildings. There's landfill methane capture. There's the closed loop economy. There's more efficient lighting. Like the list is fairly expansive.
Carbon Collective set up a core portfolio for more financially conservative investors. It invests in solutions, but it has a 70% overlap with the general market.
Whereas the climate-only portfolio, which is just those climate solution companies and green bonds, has a lot more volatility in it, which is what we'd expect from a fund that only has 169 companies in it. And now, while we believe that as a global society, we need to be focused on making those transitions happen, if we do make it, there'll be a massive inflection, and could see very strong returns on that. And if we don't, we're going to have a lot of add-on problems.
The climate-only fund is riskier, but it also offers potentially bigger rewards, especially if climate change solutions are successful. Carbon Collective is a new fund that started in November 2020, but their long-term goal is shareholder advocacy, using their investors' proxy votes to push for change.
So they could be the reporting on climate goals. They could be emission reduction plans. They could be the failure to do any of that, and you're voting against individuals who have shown a track record of not steering companies in alignment with sort of science-based climate targets. So all of those we take into account. We work heavily with As You Sow, which is a US-based company that has a long history of engaging in shareholder advocacy. Now that's what we're doing right now. What we want to be doing in the future is also bringing some of those shareholder resolutions to the table. So for example, every time I see a ballot, there is do you approve the executive compensation, which for the most part in the US is wildly out of whack, and we don't want to approve it. However, we would be really excited to see executive compensation tied to their climate action goals and stop having it just be the price of the share.
For now, Carbon Collective is only registered in the US.
We get a lot of interest from Canadians asking when we're going to be available or if it's available, because there isn't a lot of options. And the rules and regulations around starting a company like this are different in Canada. So it limits, I think, the amount of people playing around in this space.
Investment in clean energy and green buildings is on the rise. What James hopes is solutions can be accelerated by the purposeful behavior of investors. Learn more at greenenergyfutures.ca. For Green Energy Futures, I'm David Dodge.